Hello and welcome to the Powerful Personal Brand Podcast. I am your host, Claire Bahn, and on today's episode, I am going to be talking about how to rebrand yourself without alienating your audience. All right, so let's get into it. So I had to do a rebrand. I don't know how many of you remember back, but my kind of first foray into the online space and Instagram and all that sort of stuff, I was an actress. Then I did a YouTube series and blog called The Gluten-Free Avenger. Then I moved that into a lifestyle blog. I basically was like, okay, so I kind of have two lives. I'm doing this lifestyle, this acting, and this other stuff. And I'm also doing my marketing business. And I'm like, let's put them together because I kind of felt like I had two sides. So that's what I did. So many kind of rebrands along the way. And the final connection of the more personal and blog to my professional life. So we all evolve. People have had to change, pivot. You know, we're kind of going through kind of a crazy time when a lot of people have lost their job or whatever. And you might find yourself in need of a rebrand. And it's totally fine. You didn't do anything wrong, but it can be scary. Someone came to me for coaching and she had amassed a huge following on TikTok. I mean, several 100,000 followers on TikTok. And she basically, posted every single day and she would see what topics were trending in her niche. And videos were trending in her niche. And she basically would do a copycat. I did a whole thing on a podcast on copycats recently. But she basically copied a trending thing, kind of maybe put her own spin on it. But she was constantly chasing the next viral video, the next big thing. And she wasn't authentic. It wasn't her. She just wanted to have a great following. And she could do the things these other people were doing in the videos, but it wasn't what she wanted to do. We had someone else that came to us a long time ago. They had amassed a huge following doing kind of prankster videos, and they all of a sudden wanted to switch it around and do something super serious. It had nothing to do with the way they amassed the following to what they wanted to do. So what are your options? Your options are, okay, I have this following. I'm just going to dump it and start over. That is option number one. If you do that option, I would not delete the previous profiles just in case you ever want to go back to them because you did work really hard to amass the following. When I did my rebrand to my business, I had my lifestyle, my business, I did too. And it was so hard to start from scratch that I decided to do option number two, which is just pivot. Now then, you have two options here. You can do it just cold turkey, like I know that you followed me for this, but I don't want to do it. It is not authentic to me, or I am pivoting to this new thing, and this is what I'm going to do now. So you could just do that. I guess three options. The next one you can do is like, hey, I know that you're here for this. I am doing a rebrand. So kind of give them an announcement, and I'm doing this. And I really hope that you stick along with me for the ride because, you know, you could just kind of tell them and just ask them to stick around with you. The option three is that you keep some elements of your old persona, your old brand, as you kind of pivot to this new thing. So kind of look at it. If you have like a pet, you have a cat or a dog, and you want to switch them over to a new food, you don't just go cold turkey. You have to like switch it slowly, right? So you're just doing a little more of the new, until all of a sudden it's now new and they've transitioned and now they know what to expect. Keep some of the old as you transition into the new. And that is what I did. For a long time, I kept some of the lifestyle stuff in there until eventually I was fully into business. So during the transitional period, I was doing stuff on things to wear, business casual clothing to wear and things like that. I added some elements of lifestyle into my business brand. Another option, you could say, okay, this profile is going to be more of my old persona, this new, so like say Instagram is going to be more of the old persona and LinkedIn is going to be more of the new persona. So you can do it based on the platform, because obviously platforms have different audiences. So there's many ways that you can do it to not alienate your audience. Because I do think that if you go cold turkey and you just say, okay, audience, thanks for being here, but I'm switching today. Boom, new stuff. Not even going to talk about it. I'm not going to make mention of how you found me. I think that'll really hurt your brand. I do think you could just see a huge mass exodus of people, because they're like, who is this? Why would I follow someone like this? Because this is not what I like. So if you give them what they liked previously with your new, they're less likely to just jump ship. The other thing that you can also do is, if I know that for me, sometimes I'm scrolling through and I'm like, who is this? Did I ever follow this person? Who is this? And I will go and look at their profile. And what you could do with your profile there is you could say, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You could say X this, now I'm this. You could just you have to mention your old persona, your old brand, and then your new, just so that you don't get people kind of feeling alienated, feeling like, they were bait and switched. You don't want that. That is the best way to get in there and not alienate your audience, not have a mass exodus, not have people, kind of get mad at you. I definitely think that if you're going to talk about polarizing subject matter, you have to be committed. You have to be committed to the possible fallout. You have to be committed to people being mean, angry, hateful, things like that. And a lot of people don't want that. They want to go out on social media. They want to be happy, and they don't want that negativity back. So understand that by doing a rebrand, that you could get a lot of negativity because people did not follow you for that intention, that you're now the new thing that you're giving them. So tell them why, be kind yourself to them, because you did change on them, and you kind of think about how would you feel if this was done to you. That's basically it. I definitely think it's best, have a plan, tell them I'm going to be pivoting. Make sure they know in your bio, like, hey, this is what I used to do. This is what I am doing. Because if you're truthful with them, they're probably not going to leave, because there's a reason they liked you. And they're like, well, people change. If you give them the option, just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. If this isn't your jam, I get it. Love you. And I'll see you later. A lot of times people are just kind of like, well, you know what? It isn't what I intended, but I always liked them. So I'll stick along for the ride. Sometimes if you're given the option, you won't take the option to get out, but you like to know that you have an option. Because if you're not given an option and all of a sudden you're like, this isn't what I signed up for, that can make you kind of angry. So that is another way to not alienate your audience. So give them the option to get out. And a lot of times they won't get out because they like you. Those are the tips to rebrand without alienating your audience. If you've got other tips, if you've got other stuff, let me know in the comments. I'm always open to that. And I really appreciate that you stuck around. And thank you for listening and watching. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.